Are you ready to be free?
Yes.
Yes. Then take a deep breath and we'll do our treatment for freedom together aloud. I speak my word for myself, my center, and all its members and friends. I know love as the only reality. I am created out of love. Love is what I am. I know this love as absolute freedom in every area of my life, the life of my center, and all who call it home. I know our center's mortgages are paid in full, and I claim for all of us financial freedom with all debts paid and cleared. I release any sense of struggle or wrongdoing. I live in an abundant universe where there is more than enough for all. We all experience this freedom in every moment by always having more than enough money, vibrant health, and loving relationships. We are who we have come here to be. With hearts open wide, we see the world through the eyes of love. We are blessed, we are rich, and we are free, and so it is. And we do this by forgiving everybody, including ourselves, by not complaining, by inserting a blessing where we would have a complaint, and by using our points of power. I always pay attention. I always tell the truth and tell it quickly. I always ask for what I want when I want it. I always take total responsibility for my experience, and I always keep my agreements. And so it is. How many of you are doing that treatment for freedom every day? Twice a day. Good for you. Good for you. When I try to show off a little bit and show how I've got it memorized, that's when I flub. And living by these points of power, this idea of forgiving everybody, this idea of not complaining, for me, they are clearing inside of me. And what happens when I get cleared out of a lot of negativity and old stuff, and I get more good stuff. I make more room for all of the blessings that life is continuing to try to give me when I stop holding it back by playing the victim, blaming other people, just being a general crabby person. Then I get great stuff. And so if you're not doing your treatment for freedom, and if you're not living by the points of power, I encourage you to do that. And I know some people are out there rolling their eyes like, oh God, she wants me to repeat stuff. I remember that. I remember when people would do a little sing-song thing, they would throw out an affirmation, we would affirm it back, and I would say, oh, this is so hokey. Except it works. Except it works. By focusing on what you want, the most amazing thing happens. It shows up in your life. So I encourage you to take those points of power, to do your treatment for freedom, and to create a life that lifts you up, where you get to do what you want to do, go where you want to go, have the life that you want to have. You get to do that, but nobody can do it for you. And until you're willing to create the space inside of you to have the blessings show up, they'll keep on going by to your neighbor. And you go, oh, how did they get that? How did that happen to them? Well, it was looking for you, but you were too full. Oh. So it went on to somebody else who was all, oh, I love my life. And then they got to love it even more. So I encourage you to grab those. Don't just let it be something that we put you through on Sunday mornings, but something that you're really using in your life. Deep breath. I love this time of year. I am so excited. I am so excited because for us, as a teaching center, not a preaching center, we don't tell you what to think, we teach you how to think. We are a teaching center. This is the beginning of the year for us. The same way that kids have started their academic year, we start our classes. And those of you who are in class with me know that pretty much I just make it up as we go along. I tried to fit in the box, I really did. I taught all the prepackaged boxed classes. I can't do that on TV. I taught them all and they didn't work. I found my classes went from 80 to 100 people to about 20 because we're not a boxed set here. We're all unique. Yes, we're all unique. So back in the beginning of the summer, I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do for 4 months? Last year I did The Art of Shifting Consciousness, and even I think that was one of my best works. So this year we're going to go through the original Science of Mind textbook. I love the original textbook. It's before people got a hold of Ernest and said, you know, really, people can't understand that. Kind of reminds me of the books of the Bible. Oh, don't put that mystical stuff in. Don't put the esoteric stuff in. People can't understand the good stuff. Let's give them the same book written 3 different ways in the New Testament. What is up with that anyway? It was before people got a hold of Ernest and said we need to revise the textbook for the general public and write it in such a way that anybody can pick it up. Well, we are not anybody. We are mystics. We are spiritual beings, and we can take it. We can get it. And so I get to use the original textbook, which I love, and is also in public domain. So we've got it on our website for free downloads all over the world. I've recorded half of it already. I'm going to finish the recording during this class and put it out in an audio form so that people can have it and listen to it. Yes, yes. And so this is the beginning. This is the beginning of metaphysics. This is the beginning of science of mind. This is the beginning of the creative process. I was going to call it the Genesis, but then that puts you back into that book of the Bible, and I don't want to go there. It's the creative essence of it. It's the origin. It's the beginning. And the basic idea of science of mind is this idea that there is only one, and everything is built upon that one idea. Take a deep breath, because I'm going to get all teachy on you. There's only one. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's a power, it's a presence, a creative force, all right. It's the beginning, but actually it's before the beginning. It's before there ever was a beginning. I used to say that. People would get so mad at me. How can you say that before the beginning? Easy. Before the beginning. Beginning connotates time and space, connotates time. What was before time? In science it says, well, there was a bubble, there was a bang. What was before the bubble and the bang? What bubbled, what banged? There's something. So I'll go back to biblical stuff, and it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was one, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But you know, true to form, that is not a correct translation. In the Greek, it says logos. In the beginning was logos. Logos means thought. Let's try it again. In the beginning was the thought, and the thought was with God, and the thought was God. God had a thought. And keep in mind, that's before the heavens and the earth and the light. Did you ever notice in the creation stories, and I will leave this quickly for all of you freaking out about Bible. Did you ever notice in the creation stories that light was created before the sun ever came along? The sun is way down, like verse 14, before we ever had a sun. There was light. There was light. There was a thought. There was light. There was something that had a movement in consciousness that caused all of creation to show up. And as John said last week, in infinite possibilities, in multi-universes, that we could be having an infinite number of lives right here and right now, all at the same time. Holy smokes! Before any of that happened, there was something. There was a life, there was a light, there was a thought process, there was a creative cause, there was an energy, there was a movement. But whatever it is, there was only one. It is all of that. It is before the beginning, beyond time and space. It is all of that. And so we use words like infinite, that which has no limit to it. We use words like absolute, that which needs nothing to be in relationship with, that is everything, that is beyond the idea of thing, that is all and all. And so if we look at this idea that says, Alex, we love you. If we look at this idea that says there's only one, then what about the world of two? I'm trying not to get Susie on you. Dr. Seuss. Susie. What about the world of two? That it does so look like there's more than one, doesn't it? I mean, just look around the room. Doesn't it look like there's me and you and chairs and a building and the outside and all of that? There isn't. There's only one showing up as this world of multiplicity. But the world of more than one, the outer world, the physical form, the reflection, as being all a part, the manifested outpicturing of the one, doesn't take away from the one. I use an analogy in class. Do you remember when you used to put a light bulb in a shoebox, when we had such things? Oh, I have shoe boxes. I had light bulbs. And you would poke holes in it and put it in your room, turn off the lights, and it would look like stars on your ceiling. Yes, kids, this is how we used to entertain ourselves. Now, each beam of light that came out of that shoebox looked like it was a separate beam, didn't it? But it all came from the same bulb, the same light. And even though we may look like we are separate beings, we all come from the same light. We are all individualizations of the one. We are all manifestations of the one. And what I want you to know is that if you hang out with this for a little while, that it will do more for you than decades of therapy. And I know some of you need that. I needed that. The idea that we are perfect, whole, and complete, that Spirit shows up as us, that there is a force, a presence, a power in the universe, and that is what we are, that it wipes us clean and clear of any idea that says we've ever been, done, or are anything wrong. We're pure light. We are pure love. We are pure God. That is what we are. We cannot stop it. Doesn't matter how long we hold our eyes shut and say, I'm not here. No, you're here. You're here, you're God-informed, because God is all that there is, and so is everyone else. The beginning of everything that we experience goes back to this idea that whether you want to call it God or Spirit or the light or cause or energy or manifestation is all that there is. And so if you have a problem, well, that's a God problem. If you have a situation, well, that situation is manifested out of the essence of all life. So how can you say, well, my situation is special. I don't have any answers in my situation. That's absurd. You have the infinite in your situation. You have the infinite in your problem, because if you have an infinite, how can you have the infinite and then have one place over here where your problem is? God is all that there is except for my problem. No. But it moves through us. We are that hole in the shoebox. Some people think we're the beam of light, but we really are the pathway through which Spirit moves and expresses. And then we get to show up as this amazing being of light and love. The beginning is that there is an absolute something. And if anybody ever tries to tell you that they know what God or Spirit is, they are lying. We can wrap our head around it a little bit, but it's like the people with the elephant. For some people, it's flat. For some people, it's like a log, like the leg. Other people, it's a rope or a snake, like the trunk. Everybody perceives all that is differently, and that's why people can so limit it to justify going to war and killing each other over it. Isn't that ridiculous? All of life, and yet we're going to act out that which is not alive. We're going to have all of love, but we're going to act out that which is hate. That's crazy. It's either life and love and peace and joy, or it's nothing. And you are either a powerful, creative, spiritual being alive and well on planet Earth, manifesting your life according to your word or thoughts, actions, ideas, or it's nothing. Or we're just on the winds of fate being blown around, that it's a cosmic accident and there's nothing real going on. I don't know any sane person who believes that. There's something. Maybe we don't know what it is. Maybe different people define it differently, but there is something going on. When I look around this room, I start to get into that multi-universe, always have. I can see beings of light in here. I can see movement. Sometimes I can hear sounds. There is something going on here, and it is way more than that which meets the eye. So what we do in Science of Mind is we move into this idea that says everybody is a part of a greater whole. Everybody, everything, every experience is a part of a greater whole. And as a part of that greater whole has within it every answer, every solution, everything needed to bring forth its true nature of fullness, of wholeness, of completeness, of light, of love, of health, of prosperity, of all of that. And then we breathe that in and know that that is who we are and what we are. We are precious. We are cosmic. We are God beings. And that doesn't mean that now we have to shoulder the weight of the sunrise. Oh, rise, sunrise. No. It means that we can let it go to that which we already are. So often we come into this teaching and we say, now I have to speak it, I have to call it forth into form, I have to set my intentions and write my goals down, and I have to do that. And really all we have to do is stop running from the amazing being that we are. And so often that means that we stop complaining, that we forgive everybody and everything because anything that we say is wrong is a lie, that we see the presence inside of ourselves, that we live our lives with a little more integrity and commitment and honor, so that we can have that clean, clear energy move through us into our creation, and we claim the life that we want to live. But the part of us that we are conscious of is not the part of us that is creating our reality. I know, take a deep breath. There is that within us that is greater than we can even imagine, that moves through us. We guide it, we direct it, we steer it. And it manifests as our lives. I just got a brand new car. Got a brand new car given to me. I didn't have to build the engine. I didn't have to create rubber for the tires. All I needed to do was know that I was getting a car. I loved my Buick. It broke down by the side of the road while I was going to my grandson's first grade award presentations, of which he was getting 2. Nobody in his family managed to make it, including me. And I said, I am not that person. I am Barbara Waterhouse. I have things that work. And I had the wherewithal to push OnStar and get a tow truck and have it fixed. But I said, I'm not that person. When I set my intention to go somewhere, I am supported by everything to get there and do what I choose to do. It was only a couple of months later, I had a brand new car. I didn't need to know how to make it. I just needed to know that that was my choice. And I needed to do my forgiveness work. And I needed to do my treatment for freedom. And I needed to stop complaining about people. Just forgive me. I needed to stop feeling less than and small and undeserving. And I needed to step into that sense that I am spirit informed. I am Barbara Waterhouse. You are you. We are members of Center for Spiritual Living Asheville, the best Science of Mind center in the world. There's only one thing going on. We live in a world of spirit, of manifest form, but that which we are goes beyond that. There's this idea that creation is always taking form, and the uncreated holds that which is created. The absolute contains within itself the relative. The formless has inside of it that which is formed. The timeless is bigger than time. Think about that. You may have a life where you're a physical person and you go to work and you have friends and you have money and you have food and clothes and all of that, but that's a small part of you that is held within the greater you. And that greater you is held within the greater all, as we all are. If you go back to the beginning and remember that God had a thought, and that thought was you, and that thought was perfect, whole, complete in every way. You are not missing anything. You are precious and loved beyond your wildest dreams. You have more than enough and infinite more at your disposal. All you have to do is remember. Like Sherry said, remember to remember. Wherever you went, Sherry. Remember to remember. All you have to do is remember. Do the work nonstop. Open up and watch your life transform. And so it is.